Okay, so that took ages to get into this box. It's really wrapped up and I made a bit of a mess of it. But anyway, TIDRadio reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to review this radio for us? And I said, yep, send it through. So I'm doing a review on this today. We'll have a look at what it is and what you get. They also requested that I send this video to them and any feedback as well. So I will be also doing that too, because there are a couple of things about this radio which probably need a little bit of improvement. So this radio is basically a 10 watt handheld. It is a dual band radio. There aren't that many radios that come out that have 10 watts that are dual band, some that claim that they do. So I'm going to put this on the power analyzer or the power meter, and see if it does indeed put out the 10 watts. We're going to do a spurious emissions test. We do that with all of the handheld radios that I get as well. Going to have a look at the programming. This thing's actually quite interesting because it comes with they sent me a Bluetooth programmer. Some of you may have seen this before, a little Bluetooth programmer that plugs in. And I think this does multiple radios. It will also do Baofeng and also a couple of other models as well. And this radio also has built-in Bluetooth as well, so you can program that from an app as well using this Odemaster app. Besides the radio, which comes with all of the normal things that you would expect, an antenna, a little belt clip on the back, and a lanyard, you also get some other bits and pieces. Now this is what I received in the box from TID. I got this manual, which is a separate manual for the programming Bluetooth dongle here. I plugged this in and tried to program with it. I kept getting an error when I was trying to use it with this radio, but I used the inbuilt Bluetooth on the TID to try and program it, and I'll show you through the app a little bit later and what I thought of that. But I haven't tried this with another radio yet. Apparently, according to the list of supported models, it also supports Baofeng radios and also a couple of Radio Oddity radios as well, which is listed in the app. But I couldn't get it to work with this radio. That might be because, just looking through here now, I don't see the H8 listed there. Maybe that's because this already has Bluetooth in it, so that might make sense. Maybe we'll do a separate video and plug this into a Baofeng and try and program it. The app's a little bit convoluted, but we'll go through that a little bit later on. Pretty high quality actually speaker microphone, and I plugged this into the radio over the last couple of days as I've been using it, and it's actually not too bad really. Movable bracket on the back, clip on the back, so you can change your angle of your mic. So it comes with two USB-C chargers, one for that programming device and the Bluetooth programming device, and also for the radio itself, and a little USB charger, which sort of looks like a bit of an Apple rip-off, designed in California but assembled in China. And I noticed that this Australian model doesn't have the little protective black on the prongs for that you see on most plug packs to stop people from sticking their fingers in there or a knife or something like that and electrocuting themselves. So not quite sure I trust that, so I might throw that away. But that's sort of a little bit of a giveaway to what the radio actually comes with as well. If you have a look here on the battery, it's a 7.4 volt, 2.5 amp hour, 2500 milliamp hour battery. So it's quite a beefy, chunky thing. And it comes with USB-C as well, plugged directly into the battery, so we can charge directly and don't need the radio plugged in. So a couple of other radios that I've reviewed on this channel have also come with this feature as well, which is fantastic to see that you can charge your batteries this way. I plugged this into my USB power board and the red light come on and it charged for probably, I don't know, maybe 2 hours or something, and then it went green, which is what I would expect for a radio that's just straight out of the box. The other thing that was interesting too that I heard was when this radio was transmitting, I believe, it made a funny high-pitched noise or a funny noise.
What's doing it there?
I didn't notice with this radio either, and I believe that this is the second generation unit that TID have come out with, and they fixed a couple of issues from a first generation, so perhaps that was the case with those units. It's maybe a first gen issue, but I don't know. Anyway, this radio that they sent didn't have those issues, so I can't comment on them. So turning it on. Welcome. Same too, the Baofeng lady says welcome. I've programmed in here a couple of channels, just simplex channels, which I using the Bluetooth programming, which if you press BL here, you'll see a little Bluetooth icon comes up on the radio, and if you use the app on the phone, then you can program using that. I found that the Bluetooth app, which is this, again, it's this Odd Master or Ode Master. It was interesting. So just having a look here, it sort of says that you need to register the app, which I didn't really want to do. I just wanted to download and program. There is a portion on the app now where you can skip sign in. You don't need to create an account or log in, because if you do create an account or log in, apparently it allows you some extra features of the app, like frequency transmit receive lists and all that sort of thing. But for basic programming, you don't need that. So I didn't want to trust this application on my phone as far as signing up for or registering an account. So I just skipped ahead and I programmed some basic frequencies in and followed the instructions here. So basically on the app, you start it up, you connect your Bluetooth, you just press the BL button on the radio, it'll appear here, you just check it on, go to the next step, select the model of radio that you have, then you can read from the radio, and then it gives you a list of all the frequencies that are programmed in, and then you can program that as you want to. A little bit strange and convoluted. I'll show you some screenshots anyway of what I'm talking about so that you can have a look, but that's basically what the app did. One issue that I found with the app though is that so up here I have channel 1, this is our local repeater 146.700. I tried to program in 146.650, which is another repeater channel, but it wouldn't let me. It would only report in 146.64875. It wouldn't let me put in 650. I also programmed the input in, which is 146.050, and that went in correctly, but it just wouldn't let me do it on this one. And I'm not sure if that's just a programming issue. If I actually do it in frequency mode, it works perfectly. So I think that might be just a bug in the programming. So you may come across when you're programming some frequencies in, there might be some bugs if you're doing it via the app. You've got the power level, which is 0 to 10. When you transmit, it shows the a little scale come up. There's also a little signal meter here, which comes up when you're receiving. It's not all that sort of brilliant. 2 VFOs here, A and B, which are selectable by pressing obviously the A and B button. So between these two here, I don't know what this off means. I think it means priority. The manual has some sort of information. It's sort of what you would expect of a lot of radios, which sort of Baofeng type of manual, that sort of thing. It's relatively detailed, but it also is a little bit difficult sometimes to understand what a lot of the things are and what they actually mean. For the basics though, I think that you could get by for what's in the manual here. One thing that is a little bit frustrating too that I noticed about DTMF, I was doing some DTMF tone encoding on my All-Star node to try and dial up a node, and it just wouldn't work for some reason. And the reason is because the DTMF number, at least on my radio, number 3, it sends a tone, but I don't know what tone it is, and All-Star does not decode it. So I'm not sure if it's sending the wrong tone or if my All-Star node just doesn't read it properly. One menu item which I saw in the Bluetooth programming was a mic gain setting. Now I'm just trying to see if it makes reference to it here. It's one of the last settings, or at least it was one of the last settings in the Bluetooth app. And the thing with these radios, and the first thing I tested actually was using my All-Star node using a Parrot repeater, was what was the mic gain like, because these radios are notorious for having low mic gain. And it was really, really low. In fact, it was too low, it said. So what I did was I went in, when I saw that in the Bluetooth app, I cranked that up to 32, which I think is the highest. And it actually improved things quite a bit, holding the radio at a reasonable distance away, and it said that my audio level was good. In fact, let's just do a demonstration of that now. A VK7HH testing.
Audio level is normal. A VK7HH testing.
So that mic gain setting actually made a difference, and that sounded quite good. It said that the audio level was normal. So if you're finding that your TID radio is a little bit low in audio, or you get one of these, then try programming it via the Bluetooth app. It has FM radio, obviously, which is the bottom button here. That gives you the normal FM radio functions, and you can dial in your frequency that you want for whatever frequency you want to listen to. So that's pretty standard on a lot of these radios now. The top button at the moment is set as the LED here on the top. You've also got this alarm button, which comes with a lot of the radios, which just makes an annoying siren. I mean, the menus are pretty good. They're, in some regards, as far as what it's, that's timeout timer. I know what that is. Receive DCS, receive CTCSS. So you can get by with just scrolling through these. Frequency direction as well. It's interesting that I programmed this up as a repeater. Well, no, I didn't actually program it up as a repeater. I programmed it in the Bluetooth menus, and I put the inputs and the output frequency and the tones, but it didn't really pick it up as a repeater. So it doesn't actually have any direction, and it doesn't actually give me the option to change that. It does if this is in VFO mode, but that's just interesting. There's also no offset as well. So even though I've got 146.100 programmed in here as a transmit frequency, there's no offset, and I can't change that. So everyone wants to know what the Roger beep sounds like. Let's have a look. Okay, so that's a new one. The audio from the radio is not too bad. Let's do a bit of a test of that.
VK7HH testing the audio level on 146.500 using my Kenwood TD-H8.
So that's not too bad. That's probably set at half scale. I can turn it up a lot more, obviously. We did the TX audio earlier. A VK7HH testing.
Audio level is extremely high. You probably want to turn that down.
VK7HH testing.
Oh, okay, so that's interesting. Now I've turned up my mic gain in the radio using the Bluetooth programmer, and I'm using this microphone. It's too high. Let's just give that another go again. A VK7HH testing.
Audio level is a little higher than average.
A VK7HH testing.
So that might trip you up a little bit. So the audio level in this using the default mic gain was too low, I thought, whatever the default it was that's set at. But when you plug in the speaker mic, the external speaker mic, it's too high. So maybe you don't want to set it at 32. Maybe you want to turn it down a little bit, but you might have to experiment with that a little bit. Let's have a look at what the output looks like and see if it's clean or not on the spectrum analyzer. So here's my normal setup. I'm on 146.500. We're on high power at the moment, just connected directly into my spectrum analyzer, and we're going to go and set this to 146.5 and just make note here of the TX power. Let's have a look. And we're getting 9.7 watts. So there you go. It's actually giving us 10 watts out, which is what is actually surprising. I'm surprised that we're getting that 10 watts out. Let's just go up to TX power and go medium. Medium is 5 watts. And low power. Low power is 2.6 watts. So that's on the 2 meter band. Let's have a look at 70 centimeters. So I'll just change VFOs to 439. Let's just see what output power we get. On high power, we get, oh, look at that, a little over, or almost 10 watts. Same as what we did on 2 meters. Medium is 5.85. Low power, 2.98. Alright, so as far as power is concerned, it's looking pretty good. There is our carrier on 146.5. So now let's go to the second harmonic, which is calculated at 293. And we have -10, -10. So we're still a little bit out from what we need to be. We need to be -16 on our level. So We're not quite at that. Let's go to the third harmonic. Third harmonic is -20, so that's a little bit better. That's not too bad. That's below our -16 that we need, so that's okay. Let's go to the fourth harmonic, and same deal with that as well. So that's running high power on 146,500. Let's just step out the span a little bit and have a look. We'll go about, what were we at, 300 megs. And let's do a span of 250. So there's our second harmonic carrier there. I don't see any other little spurs coming up. Let's go back to the center frequency on 146.5, and we'll just do a TX. I don't see any other little spurs coming up there, so that's good. We're looking not too bad there. There's not really any spurs that I can see. Let's go up now to 439 and do the same test. Looking all right. Let's go to the second harmonic on 439. On 878, and yeah, we're 5 dBm. We're too high there, so not under our 40 dB, or pretty close to it, but not quite, and not under our -16 or 25 microwatts that we need to be under. I just decided to also run a quick sensitivity test here. Got the generator set at -124, and it's there. It's noisy, but it's there. And it drops out at about -124 or so. So 12 dB cyanide. I need to make up a cable so I can plug this into my set to actually measure 12 dB cyanide, but it kind of sounds by ear at about -120. So yeah, it's sensitive. I don't know how it is under RF broadcast conditions or noisy RF environments, however. So I want to show you the Bluetooth app briefly. If I start it up, there's a button here, skip login. If I tap on that, because I don't want to add any credentials or sign up with any sort of account. What I could do now is on the radio, I select the BL button, which is just here. Select that and the little Bluetooth icon pops up. Select connect Bluetooth, and you can see I've got the device here, TIDRadio kit. If I just toggle that on, it then connects to the device. And then I select a model, so I've got TIDRadio, let's go TD-H8, Ham, click read, and the radio is reading, and you can see Bluetooth program and a status bar. Now that that's read, I've got here a list of my channels. So here you can see channel 1, and you can set all of those functions associated with the channel as well as the channel name down the bottom. Channel 2, this is the one that I had issues with. So you can see if I take out 146.48, whatever it was, and put in 650 and hit done, it keeps auto-correcting and it doesn't allow me to put in a frequency which is, it's like it's 2.5 kilohertz off. So I'm not quite sure what's actually causing that. If we go also to function, this is I believe a function in the radio, not a function per channel, but a function in the menus. Scrolling to the bottom, you can see the mic gain that I spoke about earlier. I set it to 32, but I used the speaker microphone, so it's probably a little bit loud. I'm sure that mine was set to default as 15, so I'm going to go and split the difference, and I'm going to go about 25 there so that I can rewrite that. So this gives you basic channel editing functions, and if I scroll the way to the bottom, 199 channels. So you can do that programming using this Bluetooth app that way. If I try and click on repeater, it says that I need to sign up to access the features. It's same too with TX, RX or RX-TX list. It doesn't let me do that because I don't have an account. So if I just go back and I click write, then it basically writes to the radio. So in that effect, it's actually pretty cool, pretty easy to function and to do basic programming using that. But you might need to weigh up that if you're going to use this app, then I wouldn't use your main email address or anything like that to sign up to this account if you want the full functions and you want to use this in its full capability. So I've been using this radio now for a couple of days, and apart from the issues that I've discussed earlier on in the video, I didn't really notice anything else wrong with it. However, I did come across a problem which was posted in regards to the battery and in regards to the battery terminals here on the back. Apparently, the battery terminals get really hot if you have your hand over them, or if you're using the radio like you normally would by holding it with the battery terminals across your hand. Now, in normal operation, when I was using this, I didn't notice any issues at all, but I heard about this issue, so I thought that I'd try it out. So what I did was I held the radio in my hand, but I held it and gripped it a little bit harder than I would normally. And there's two terminals here on the back. There's a T and the minus terminal as well. And I noticed that holding my hand across those two, at least, which was in my left hand, I did actually feel the radio start to warm up, and those terminals would start to warm up on my hand. So whilst I didn't notice it just using it normally, maybe it's because I was holding it in my right hand and I wasn't really paying attention, when I did hold it in my hand and really grip it, that's when the problem started to occur. Okay, so literally as I record, TID have actually replied back, and they've said that the firmware available is online for download for the DTMF issue. So they've given me a link to a YouTube video, which I'll link in the description below, and also to download this firmware, go to their website. So they sent me that information as well. So they say the contacts on the backside of the battery appear to be where the heat burning sensation is coming from. That's what we've already ascertained. Our H8 ham version is 10 watts and the power is high. The battery terminals will be very hot. But our H8 GMRS version is 5 watts. This problem will not occur. In the current, we have improved the battery and solved the burning sensation while retaining 10 watts. In fact, the batch of H8 is because we have the ham version, the GMRS version. There were lots of orders some time ago, so the factory mistook the GMRS version for the ham version, which caused the indicators to fail to meet the standard. Okay, sure. I also asked them about the spurious emissions output, and they said, we have shipped the new batch of H8 to Amazon. Since the Amazon batches are mixed, it is inevitable that they will reach this batch of H8. But don't worry, as long as the customers receive this batch of H8, we will reship the new H8 to them. We never shirk our responsibilities. Any feedback on our products will be carefully recorded. Our firmware is constantly updated in an effort to provide near-perfect radios for all customers. So that's basically what TID have said to me in regards to this radio. I guess if you order it from TIDRadio or you order it from Amazon, they've obviously just said there in writing that if you have a bad radio, they will replace it. So take that as what they've written to me. So yeah, if you order from Amazon, you can also return via the Amazon return program as well if the radio that you get ends up being a problem. Obviously, there's a lot of things to weigh up with these radios, whether they're right for you or not. There was also some others that I've reviewed from similar brands. If you want to check those out, then there is a link over here to those videos.